All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Jenny Atchley, and I serve as president of the Young Democrats of South Carolina. On behalf of the Young Democrats of South Carolina, I'd like to welcome you to the Young Democrats of South Carolina presents Robert's Rules of Order, the class 2022, part 2. In today's class, we'll be going over how to nominate, second, and elect officers. We'll also be talking about how to present resolutions and how to amend resolutions. You will be electing officers at your county party precinct reorganizations by electing your precinct presidents and your precinct executive committee members and at your county party conventions by electing your chairs, your vice chairs, and your executive committee members. We're about to begin, but first I want to go over some housekeeping items and to set the scene. Please place yourself on mute so we don't distract others. If you'd like to be recognized, please raise your hand using the hand raise function. And also use the chat in the chat box. And we will pause while you, we will pause so that you can unmute your mic and that we can answer your questions during those breaks or during those pauses. Additionally, there's 2 or 3 built-in breaks and pauses to answer questions. Should your question not be addressed this evening due to time constraints, please email them to, and we'll put this in the chat, YDSC National Committee Members @gmail.com. The third and final housekeeping item on our list is to please reference your YDA Robert's Rules of Order cheat sheet that you received or that you'll be receiving in the chat. We'll be placing this link in the chat box if you're unable to locate it. So it'll be in the chat in just a second. To set the scene, we are at the Palmetto County Democratic Party Annual Convention. At this year's convention, we'll be electing new officers to lead us for the next 2 years. Bree is playing the role of chair and will be chairing the convention. Typically at the county convention, you will have someone other than the county party chair chair the convention, but in this case, we're doing it for training purposes only. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And scene.
Welcome back, everyone. I am now calling this convention back to order. We have come to the point of our convention to elect officers. I have had the pleasure of serving as your chair for a long 4 years and do not wish to continue. You all require too much of my energy and I am not here for that. I have other things I need to do. I'm so glad I didn't say that out loud. Now, we only have one candidate that has submitted their nomination and prior paperwork in nominating themselves to run for office, for chair. So do I hear any motion on the floor to open nominations for chair?
I move we open nominations for chair.
I second that and would like to be recognized first. I would like to nominate Jonna for the respectful role of chair of the great county. The work she is doing to move our county forward is exactly what we need. I know she will do an amazing job.
I second that nomination.
Do you accept this nomination, Jonna?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate myself for chair of the great county party. I've been putting in the work for the past 5 years to make this county party the best it's ever been.
I second that nomination.
Well, good. Are there any other nominations for chair of the Palmetto County Democratic Party? Do I see any more nominations from the floor? Do I see any more nominations from the floor? As I have to say this 3 times to make sure I'm not overlooking anyone due to Robert's rules. Do I see any more nominations from the floor? Nominations for chair are now closed. Do I hear a motion to open nominations for the role of first vice chair?
A few moments later.
Nominations for alternate executive committee man are now closed. Do I hear a motion to open nominations for the role of secretary?
I move we open nominations for secretary.
I second.
I would like to nominate Erica as secretary for this fine body. She can do so much talking. Let's see if she can write.
I second that nomination.
Now, Miss Ashley, that is no way for you to act wanting to be chair of this fine body of people. You have to conduct yourself like a well-spoken, polished, and thoughtful leader like myself. I don't say things out loud that I should say in my head. Erica, do you accept?
Although that was shady, I do.
Well, good.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to close the nomination.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All right, looks like the ayes have it.
All right, and break. We are on our first break from going over some of the Roberts rules. So here we ran through how to do nominations for county party officers. Typically, the county party will run through each officer separately. Each county party has their own bylaws, and they must follow them when running elections, but it all comes back to Robert's Rules of Order. Some county parties allow for an entire slate of officers to be put up for nomination when they're running unopposed. Some county parties elect their secretary and treasurer. Some appoint those officers. It's important for you to reference your county party bylaws and the SCDP, South Carolina Democratic Party, party rules for all this information. We're going to drop a link in the chat that goes over the South Carolina state party rules. You will also notice that there are two different ways to close nominations. Either a person can make a motion directly to the chair, or the chair can call for nominations 3 times, and after no one responds, you're able to close the nominations automatically. So at this time, we'll take any questions in regards to nomination process. Please use the hand raising function if you have a question. Jonah, you're recognized.
Thank you. Is it only ever the person who is, so it's only ever the person who is nominating a person who gives the speech of why they think the person is, and it also, is the person who nominates the person required to give a speech?
We're actually going to cover that in the next section about nominator speeches and candidate speeches, so just hold on to that thought. Any other questions? All right.
I do
seeing none.
want
go ahead.
to address a part of Jonah's question though, that you won't see, but they're not technically required to make a speech, but they do get the opportunity, Jonah. So it's not really a requirement, but they do get the opportunity.
All righty, we will be moving back into character. So Anne Scene.
Now it's time to vote. We are voting for one chair first. Jenny and Jonna, you both will have 2 minutes to give your speeches as to why you should be the next chair of our fine county. Your nominator will have 1 minute to give their speech as to why they nominated you. Jenny, since you nominated yourself, you will not be allowed a nominator speech. You can cover all of that in your speech for why you should be chair. Lord, please don't let them talk too long. I do not want to be on here all night. I am ready to go. I'm so glad I didn't say that out loud.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I am here today to tell you that I am the best candidate out there for chair of the Palmetto County Democratic Party. I've been involved in this county party for 5 years, and over the last 5 years, I've registered 3.5 million new voters, and I've ensured that they've all turned out to vote. Every single person has turned out to vote. I've made it so we have a candidate on the ballot for every single position, plus another candidate. So we have a primary for every single position. I've made it so we are doing food drives in every community every single Saturday. And I am doing the most all the time and being the most extra. And as your chair, I will make sure to continue being the most extra. And over the last 5 years, you've seen my work, you've seen my efforts, and I will continue to make it even better over the next 5 years. Palmetto County will be the best county of this entire state, and we will win the award next year under my leadership. Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to say my nominating speech. My candidate is a great leader, an advocate in her community, and she makes sure the people are being seen and heard. Her strengths outweighs any weaknesses, and she will be great in her role. I mean, have you seen her trending on TikTok?
Thank you, Erica. I greatly appreciate this nomination tonight. And while I would like to say, Miss Ashley has been around for 5 years, but I'm new here. I would like to bring a new, fresh view to the party. She's got 3.5 million voters coming in. I want to get the extra million that we've got in this town. I think we can bring them in. I'll reach out. I can use my TikTok, as Erica greatly referenced, to bring in the youth vote. And we all know how much youth vote there is in the county. So with that, I want to keep it short and sweet so that we can get out of here tonight. Thank you for the nomination.
Thank you both for offering yourself up for service and such compelling speeches. Everyone has such a hard time figuring out who they're going to vote for, because this is a very important role and it is not for the weak. Trust me, I know. Now, time to vote. All those in favor of Jenny for chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? I'm counting 3 votes for Jenny. Now, those in favor for Jonna, please, for as chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'm counting 2 votes for Jonna. Looks like we have a new chair. Congrats, Jenny. Now you run this meeting because I am out of here. Bye.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay. I guess I'm doing this now. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Jonna, I look forward to having you partner with us for using your TikTok on how to reach more of those youth voters. Thank you so much for your support. We have to vote on the rest of our officers now, and there's only one candidate for each position.
I would like to make a motion to vote for the remaining officers by acclamation due to there only being one person in each position of consideration.
I second that.
The motion has been made and seconded. So all those in favor of first vice chair Billy Bob, second vice chair Sally Sue, third vice chair John Boy, executive committee members Hattie Mae and John Not Travolta, alternates Bree Spalding and Austin Jackson, secretary Erica Sampson, and treasurer Shade Wachiatam, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Congratulations to our new officers of the Palmetto County Democratic Party. And scene. All right, now taking a break from the acting. I noticed somebody keeps voting in our acting, but remember, as a participant, you don't have to vote in these. This is just a training purposes. But as you can see here, we had our nominators give their speeches and candidates give their speeches. Due to the order, the other seats being unopposed, they did not give speeches. However, a county party may allow them to give speeches if they would like. And there was then there was a vote for all the positions, and since the other seats were unopposed, there was a motion to accept them as one massive vote. Again, it's important to reference your county party bylaws and state party rules for preparing for your county party convention. Are there any questions on how the speeches went and how the voting went? Sorry about that, y'all, with the dog. Any questions?
I have a question. Sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Too many things to click. So when somebody makes the motion to like accept the slate, if you will, to like vote by acclamation for the slate, if somebody wanted to nominate themselves that wasn't one of the people nominated, they would reject that motion, like they would vote against it, and then they could nominate themselves, or how would that process look?
Because the nominations were already closed, they wouldn't be able to nominate themselves at that time. Now, if they were already nominated, then that motion probably would not occur because there's 2 officers running. Someone could make a motion to vote by acclamation for a certain number of certain officers, a slate of officers. So for example, if you had Team A running against Team B, someone could say, I vote for, or a motion for acclamation for Team A, but then someone on Team B could say, objection to your motion. They can make an objection, but they can't reopen the floor for nominations. But typically it's when you're going to have someone who's not opposed. They're going to be unopposed in their election. Any other feedback from the crew? Any other questions? All righty. We'll now move into the part of the county party convention where we accept resolutions and bylaw amendments proposed by members of the county party. Typically, the only time you pass resolutions and amend your county party bylaws is during your annual convention. You then send your resolutions and you send your state party to the state party resolutions committee. And you can also propose state party rules amendments and send that to the proper committee and they review those amendments. So you can amend the state party rules, you can amend your county party bylaws, and you can send new resolutions. So now we're going to go back into our scene. So please remember to keep yourself on mute. Please remember to type your questions in the chat. And please remember to enjoy this wonderful show. And scene. All right, we've completed our county party bylaw amendments and state party rule amendments. The last order of business is resolutions to send to the state party from our county party that are important to us and we want them to recognize and know about. We had one submitted to the body.
Yes, I have one.
The chair recognizes Erica and her resolution to submit to the body.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My resolution is to have the South Carolina Democratic Party recognize that a hot dog is a sandwich. Whereas the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, describes a sandwich as a meat or poultry filling between 2 slices of bread, a bun, or a biscuit. By that definition, we must recognize that a hot dog is a sandwich.
All right, thank you, Erica. Are there any questions for the author of this resolution?
Will the author accept a friendly amendment to fix the spelling on line number 1 in grammar?
I do accept. Thank you, Sade. You are such a good friend.
Seeing as this is a friendly amendment, we do not need to vote or debate on this.
I have an amendment to that as well, if Erica's open to a friendly amendment.
Is the author open to another friendly amendment?
I'm not, because I know her and what she shares is never friendly.
But you haven't even heard me out on this one yet.
I don't have to hear you. I don't want to.
Ladies, sit down.
I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this anymore. Can't nobody even hear Jenny. You got to be louder than that. What's she doing? I'm so glad I'm on mute. Oh, the camera's gone. What is going on?
Where did the chair go? Where did the past chair go? Where did they all go? I guess the convention is over now. That's the resolution to this mess. LOL.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry for the technical difficulties that I was having and it looks like everyone else was having. I am not sure what happened there, but it looks like we have everyone back on. So I'm now going to call this body back to order. There was a friendly amendment approved and one that was proposed that was declined by the author. So we will now move into a period of debate on this resolution. Per our rules, we will limit the debate to 5 minutes, going back and forth between those in favor and those against. I will now ask for a person to speak in favor of the resolution. Please use the hand raise function to be recognized. I will now recognize Sade.
I would like to speak in favor of this resolution. This resolution will bring light to a much needed issue in South Carolina and make the Democratic Party take a stance on this. For far too long, we've allowed the Republican Party to take a stance and recognize that a hot dog is not a sandwich. It's time we take a stance.
Are there any speeches against? Jonna, you're recognized.
I would like to submit an amendment to the resolution. My amendment would be that a hot dog would be recognized as a sandwich if and only if it is topped with lettuce, tomato, and or onion, because as we all know, the hallmarks of a good sandwich are what you put on it in addition to the meat. And not every sandwich has meat. We really need to expand our views on this and be more inclusive on our definition of a sandwich. Thank
Your
you.
amendment has been properly submitted and seconded. So now that we have an amendment submitted to this resolution, we'll now move into questions on the amendment. Are there any questions for the author of the amendment to the resolution? Seeing no questions, we will now move into a debate. Per our rules, we have a time limit of 5 minutes going back and forth between those in favor and those against. I will now ask for a person to speak in favor of this amendment. Please use the hand raising function to be recognized. I will now recognize Bree.
I am in favor of this amendment. This amendment makes it clear that the toppings of a hot dog can be classified as a sandwich if one chooses to, or it cannot be classified as a sandwich due to the lack of toppings if one chooses to. It is important that we listen to all the voices of the Democratic Party and all the hot dog eaters out there. You should not force Democrats to pick a side. We deserve to eat our hot dogs the way we like them.
Are there any speeches against this amendment? Today you're recognized.
I'm just totally against this amendment. It's important to note this amendment changes the meaning of the original resolution, in my opinion. It makes it so that only certain hot dogs are considered sandwiches. I don't support this amendment and urge you to vote against this horrible amendment. What's going on with you guys?
The time for debate has expired. We will now move into a period of voting. All those in favor of passing this amendment, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no.
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 Division.
Oh, division has been called. To make it easier, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote. When I call your name, please cast your vote with an aye or a nay or abstain. Jonna?
Aye.
Bree?
Aye.
Erica?
Nay.
Shade?
Nay.
It's the opinion of the chair that the vote is a tie, and as the chair, I will cast the tie-breaking vote, and my vote is a nay. The amendment to the resolution fails. We will now move back into a period of debate on the original resolution. We have 2 minutes remaining in this debate. Are there any speeches in favor? Seeing none, are there any speeches against? Seeing none, we will now move into a period of voting. All those in favor of passing this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
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 Right.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Any abstentions? It's the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it. The resolution has passed and will be sent to the South Carolina Democratic Party Resolutions Committee for consideration. Is there a motion to adjourn this convention?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, say no. All abstain. The county convention is now adjourned and seen. This process went through how to pass a resolution and seeing what happens when there's a friendly amendment, when the friendly amendment is denied, and when there's an unfriendly or regular amendment that is presented. A friendly amendment is something that the author accepts and does not change the intent of the original resolution or the item. And it's something that's such as grammar or spelling. An unfriendly amendment is something that changes wording, adds words, or changes to the item that's been presented. We also went over what occurs when the voice vote is unclear and someone calls for a division. Division can be handled in multiple ways. One is where you have people voting yes, no, and abstain to stand, and you hand count each person, or you can do a roll call vote. Once you finish with the unfriendly amendment, you go back to the original item you were debating and continue the process. Are there any questions on this process? Are there any questions on how any of this was done? Jonah?
So can a person actually reject hearing what's been called a friendly amendment before it's been voiced?
Yes.
And I'll piggyback on that. Yes, the yes is because they have to, the author of the amendment has to accept it. So they off the bat don't want to accept it. They don't accept it, even if they haven't heard it. That's up to them. They're the author of the amendment. So at the end of the day, it's their decision. So if they listen to it and say no, it's no. If they don't listen to it and say no, it's no. Of course, you want to encourage people to listen to it, but at the end of the day, it's still their decision to make.
Cool.
John, were you
Any other
trying to put your hand up?
questions?
Yeah, so if somebody, if the author declined to let the friendly amendment come out and they just nixed that, would a solution to that be to raise your own amendment and change whatever you wanted to change about the first one? Does that make sense?
Also, I think I lost you at the end of that. So
So if you're wanting to like edit, like do the friendly amendment to the resolution that's being proposed, but they don't let you, like they just reject that, like how the author can not let you propose it, could you just turn around and raise it as your own amendment?
So you're basically asking, you want to make it friendly, they reject it, so can you make it an unfriendly amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Because you still present it as an amendment.
Okay.
but that's the original. Yeah, that's the original author is who you're saying would do that, or you're saying the person who's making the amendment, not the original author.
I think I'm lost too then.
Okay, I'm gonna go with what Jenny said because I think she
Yeah, that sounds
understood it
right.
better than I did.
So like in this example, you were trying to make a friendly amendment for her, she declined it.
Mhm.
And so instead you made an unfriendly amendment.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Okay. I get it now.
And an author can make a friendly amendment to their own material as well when they see their own typo, or if they see a grammatical issue, or if they were talking to someone the night before and realized that they were supposed to say, and this happens a lot where terminology. So like when you say certain phrases and that terminology is past terminology and you want to update it to current terminology that we use in every day, especially in updated language, and they want to make a friendly amendment to their own. Because once a resolution is submitted to the body, they can't go change it. They have to amend it in front of everybody. And you can also, fun fact, you can make an amendment to an amendment to an amendment. So like, Jonna, if you submit an amendment and then Shade could have amended it, and then Erica could have amended Shade's amendment, and it just could have kept going. And that's how they keep things going. And they keep things tied up in committees, is by submitting amendments to amendments to amendments.
Ask any lawmaker right now. They're all doing it.
But I do encourage you to look at the South Carolina Democratic Party rules. Look in there to see if anything is out of date and you would want to amend anything. Look in your county party bylaws to see if anything's out of date and you would like to amend it. Think about resolutions. So resolutions could be that you want to make it so the South Carolina, and this is something I believe we've already passed a resolution on, but this is an example, that South Carolina stands with Black Lives Matter and the movement that they're a part of. That's a resolution. So then that goes to the South Carolina Democratic Party once it's passed at your county convention to be then presented at the entire state convention in June. So if there's a current movement that's going on right now that you want them to be on board for. If there's something happening in South Carolina that you see that they need to do something about, that they need to jump on board with, then that's something that you can definitely look into, making a resolution. We can help you make a resolution. There's outlines on how to make them with whereas statements. If you want to honor someone from your county party that passed away, you can make a resolution to do that as well. And that's one way of honoring people, because we know we've lost a lot of people due to COVID. If you want to honor someone from your county party for just being amazing, you can make a resolution for that as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yes, Jonah.
So Austin just posted that tertiary amendments are against Robert's rules, but they still happen.
What I mean to amendment to the amendment to the amendment, I'm saying if you're amending, so if you're amending the state, stop. If you're amending the state party rules, like say you're making an amendment to the state party rules, that's called an amendment. And then somebody amends your amendment, and then somebody amends that amendment, that's an amendment to an amendment to an amendment. He's talking about if it goes a third time. If somebody makes so that's the third time. So you can't go more than 2 amendments to an amendment.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's like, you can't do more than that. Like, because you can't keep it going and going and going and going and going. You can't do that.
Gotcha. Cool.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Anything about Robert's rules? All righty, I will turn it over to Bree.
All right, thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Cass, so much for all that you've done getting us to this point. We normally do 3 trainings. We are going to, since we finished the convention today, we are going to end with the end of the convention. But we are going to send out to everyone who is a part of YDSC, as well as if you've attended our past trainings, out a copy of all of the trainings that we've done. So there's 3 from last year, and then there's now 2 from this year. Jonah's very excited about that. You're going to get a link to all of them. And we encourage you to watch them. We encourage you to order Robert's Rules if you don't already have it. Visit your local bookstore if you have a local bookstore in your town, and order it from them. Let them order it for you. Give them some sales there. But we want you to get it because it's a great tool for anyone that's dealing with meetings, even if you're not always the person running the meeting, but to know how the meeting should run, to be able to help, not necessarily call people out if they're doing it wrong, but help them. So it helps everybody that's in the meeting, helps the meeting run well, helps people be a part of the process. So with that, we are going to play all the videos. I'll give them all to you to watch, and then we will reconvene on March the 10th, and we'll go ahead and set up that Mobilize link for a Q&A session. So it won't be a training that day, but it'll be a Q&A session. So March the 10th at 5:30, we'll reconvene for anyone to ask questions. If you have any friends that are in meetings that may have questions, or anyone that you want to share the opportunity with, maybe your county party convention may be right before, maybe that would be a reason too for you to come on, ask some questions. Maybe it's coming up and you want to ask some questions ahead of it, all of that great stuff. So March the 10th is when we will reconvene 4 questions to be asked about Robert's rules at 5:30, and we will send the Mobilize link out as soon as we create it. That's all I have. Jenny, if you don't have anything else, I believe we're done. If there's not any announcements from the floor.
The only other thing is, if everyone is willing to, if you can turn on your cameras for our group screenshot, because we like to take our group picture. So if y'all want to turn your cameras on just for a quick second so that we can take a picture. Give everyone just a second. Oh my gosh, we got the baby in the picture. I'm so excited. All right, and 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Great seeing you, Michael.
Nice seeing you, Jenny.